Hello everyone, my name is Runi Tya and today I'm going to explain how many increasing bad news or hoax news in Indonesia and how me as a communication student and you as a citizen to see and solve this problem. Okay, today I'm going to talk about the vertical bar graph and what are the real action me as a communication student to solve and see the problems. I will use the chart so you guys can clearly see the information. I will use the vertical bar graph about how bad news increasing in Indonesia. I use vertical bar graph so you can see the specific number from August 2018 to April 2019, how increasing are the bad news in Indonesia. From August there's 25 until April there's 486. There are high increasing of bad news in Indonesia. We need to solve this. The key point I want you to remember that is from January 2019 to April 2019, from 175 to 486, there are 311% of increasing of the bad news in Indonesia. And for total, from August 2018 to 2019, there are 731% of bad news that increase in Indonesia, and it's a fact, the life of our country, the society. And how to solve that? How me as a communication student and you as a citizen to solve this problem? We cannot live with the bad news, so we need to solve them. And this is how me as a communication student solve these problems. What can we do? Maybe you're still confused what we can do to solve this problem. What me as a communication student and you guys as a society, how to solve this kind of problems. Our responsibility as a communication student and the people who live in Indonesia to solve this problem is by anticipate the hoax news or the bad news by doing this. First, when you receive the information, do not just receive that. You need to look over that. You need to see, is that a good information? Is that from a valid sources or is just a bad news? Second, looking and sort the information. Do not just looking and share it to your friend. Please sort the information. Is that come from valid sources? Is that come from the government or what? Third, ignore provocative title. You might wondering and you might see this title everywhere, such as in the magazine or in the news. Please ignore the provocative title that might get you into a hoax or bad news. Fourth, do more research in valid sources. You can do more research when you find the information, you receive, you sort, you do some research in many valid sources like CNN or maybe Kompas Gramedia or something. The famous sources that maybe will help you to see is that the information you got are true or not. Fifth is find the truth. When you are looking and research in valid sources, you might find the truth and you might see the information that you got before, is that true or not. And lastly, you will never get a hoax anymore or bad news anymore. These are the steps I have mentioned, and you might doing this when you searching some information in the internet or you reading a news. If you don't stop the bad news to spread in Indonesia, if I as a communication student do not stop this, we will destroy our country. We will get into a big trouble that will cause a lot of bad things to me, to you, to every people who read a bad news. Doing a lot of research before you say something, before you tell the information to others is a good way to be a good reader, and it's a good way to solve the problem from the bad news. At the end of the presentation, me as a student and you guys as a citizen need to stop this hoax news by doing the step I have mentioned before, and looking by that, we as a student and citizen must be smart and have a critical thinking to see the information. We need to have a big curiosity when we reading something new or something makes us confused about that. We need to have a really curiosity to look in every sources, every valid sources, every valid information before we judge, before we give the information to others. That's all I have to mention today. Thank you for your time, and I hope I can see you on the next video. Thank you.